Hello, folks. My name is Felix Argüelles, and I consider myself another fan of this extraordinary game. I'm posting this video to talk about technique in chess, which is very important to face the different stages of a chess game. Very often, when we are reading a chess book, analyzing its games, we find the famous phrase, the rest is a matter of technique. That leaves us a little bit perplexed as we still think there's a lot going on in the game. But chess masters don't see it that way. Why? Because they know technique. So, what is technique in chess? Well, it's a set of skills that works as tools to assume the different parts of the games, not only the end game, but also the middle game and the opening. Concretely speaking, I'm referring, for example, to the topic of the right exchange of pieces, the knowledge of the structure, the use of the pair of bishops, and so on, or others of a more, let's say, practical nature, as the golden rules of chess masters of not despair. How do we learn technique? Well, we can study the classics like Capablanca, Vasily Smyslov, Tigran Petrosyan, the Russian school, let's say Karpov, Kragnik, or why not even the current god of chess, Magnus Carlsen. Today I want to show you a game which I played in 2016, which I'm very proud of because I could win with black pieces. It illustrates a little bit about this question of technique. Let's get to the game. White started by e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, e5, and here we have the Philidor Defense, which has been played by several interesting players like Sergei Mosesian, Victor Bologan, Richard Rapport, Badur Jobaba, or even our favorite Spanish commentator, Pepe Cuenca. So it's a very interesting defense, although black doesn't have too much space. They used to he uses to play an initiative on the queen side by playing c6, a6, b5, or even playing through the dark squares by possibly taking on d4 and then maybe knight d7, c5, and so on. So in the game, White decided to exchange in the center and play this queenless game, endgame. So, which is very interesting. The king is in the center, but is still safe because it has the central pieces protecting it, and also the in the ending the king in the center could be a good advantage. So bishop g5, logical move, bishop e6, and black is not afraid of having these double pawns on the f file because he would remain with this dark square bishop with the weakened dark squares, so that would be good. So long castle, check, knight d7, knight f3, threatening to take on e5, bishop d6, protecting, and here an interesting move, bishop b5. So posing a concrete threat of taking on d7, and then if king takes, taking on e5, and if bishop takes, there could come knight d5 and press the f6 square. So king c8 to avoid the pin on the diagonal and also the rook pin. So a white played knight d2, maybe going to c4 and pressing a little bit on d6. And here there's an elegant move by black, bishop b4, threatening to spoil the structure on the queen side, which is not so easy to avoid. So that's why white decides to protect the c3 square with knight d2 b1. So black continues c6, which is a very useful movement in this opening to cover the d5 square, bishop e2, h6, bishop e3, and here the first achievement for blacks with knight g4, because it forces white to take the knight and lose the pair of bishops. Bishop g4, bishop g4. We know that the pair of bishops is very important for in the chess game. So bishop e6, a3, bishop e7, keeping the pair, and then, well, a questionable move, b3, a little bit weakening. So black played b5. This is a typical advance in this opening. b5, knight king b2, king c7 to connect the rooks, knight d2, and rook h b8. So we can see that black is gathering the pieces toward the enemy king. So, but the white didn't pay attention to this and played knight f1, knight b6, knight g3, a5. In the future, it could happen to take on a3, and maybe some b4 could work. We don't know. So a4. So this seems to lose, but it was very well anticipated by white, because ba, intermediate, bishop b6 check, rook b6, and then the blockade with knight a4 defends the position. So rook b4, widening the scope of this rook, and white decides to bring back the knight to the defense. We double in the b file. We are now try to take on a4, knight c3, e3, just on time to defend. Now there's a very interesting moment in the game. So we would like, for example, to make work the sacrifice on b3, for example, bishop b3, cb3, rook takes, then king c2, but we can see that there's no much with this sacrifice, because the knights defend very well the position. So in this moment of the game, it's important to be flexible, and even when we have worked all the time in this sector of the board, we have to look for other tries, now that the offensive is extinguished. So rook d4, very interesting move, trying to double on the d file. Maybe in the future we can use the pair of bishops, who knows. So rook took d4, e d4, knight e2, and d3, trying to weaken the pawn chain, and then win by taking on b3. But the white side had everything under control and played knight f4 once again, just on time. Bishop f6, important intermediate move, check, and now white played king a2. If king, for example, c1, maybe bishop g5, and then take the knight, and then dc, winning by the collapse of the queen side pawns. So the same would happen if king b1. So white played king a2, and now dc, and the intermediate knight takes e6, rook c1. So it seems that the storm is gone. However, we can see an important element. The minor piece of black is much more effective than the knight on a4 because it controls this long diagonal toward the enemy king, and the knight doesn't really have a good central and stable spot to play. So black takes the only open file in the position, rook d8, rook c2, and then the first important threat, rook d1. So black is threatening a checkmate on a1, and white played knight b2. If knight c3, for example, bishop takes c3, rook c3, then check on d2, and then black starts grabbing the pawns of the king side. So knight b2, and here a very fine move by black, rook f1. What's the purpose of this? Well, white would like to put the pawns on dark squares to neutralize this strong bishop, and with the rook on f1 that would be impossible, because this f3 pawn would follow, would be lost. So rook f1, and there is a very important issue in this position. White can't move the knight because of the checkmate on a1. The same would happen if white moves the king. So also if the rook leaves the second rank, the knight would be lost by rook f2. So this is a zugzwang. So white only has some little movements like rook keeping the rook on the second rank, or maybe moving the h pawn. So this is almost a total zugzwang, so the game is already one-sided. So rook d2, bishop e5, h3, and when we have a weakness we want to attack, in this case g2, it's important to fix the pawn on g2 to keep it there and then grab it. So black played h5, rook c2, h4, rook d2. Now, even when our opponent is in zugzwang, we need to find a plan to grab the pawns and win in the endgame. So black foresees the plan. The plan is very simple. Is to bring the king to g3, and then with the rook on g1 take the pawn, and well, that would be the end. But we have to wait for the rook to move away from the 5, obviously, or cover the 5. So black plays g6, important tempo, important to lose this tempo. Look that g5 is not the same because this square could be used by the king. Rook c2, king d7, rook d4, check, rook d2, check, sorry, king e7. Notice that the move knight d1 is not possible because of bishop f4, then rook continues protecting the knight, for example rook d3, and then rook g1, and the g2 pawn would be lost. So rook c2, and now black realizes that when he gets to this square f4, there could come a knight d3 check and lose his bishop. So black decides to improve the position of that bishop with bishop d4, rook d2, c5, rook c2, king f6, and now the king will get finally to the g3 square, and with rook g1 black is completely winning, taking the base of the pawns. Well, folks, I hope you have enjoyed this game as much as me. Below in the description, I leave you my email address in case you want to work with me. I mean, get classes, chess classes for a very reasonable price. Please keep enjoying this healthy vice. See you soon.